has the latest.
The 17-year-old is in the hospital after a shooting last night in Algiers. It happened just after 8:30 in the 3500 block of General de Gaulle. The NOPD says he was shot in the leg. No word on his condition at this time. Call the NOPD or Crime Stoppers if you know anything about this shooting.
Renters will be getting some help making up overdue rents. We get the story from WWL TV's Karen Swenson.
Struggling renters in New Orleans could soon get a helping hand. Today, Mayor Latoya Cantrell said the city could receive as much as $25 million for rental assistance. Recently, $308 million was given to the state from the U.S. Treasury's emergency program. In a statement today, Cantrell said, quote, "The city will continue to fight to keep people in their homes during this uncertain time." You can find out more about applying on ready.nola.gov.
Here's Mark Menard in WWL Sports.
LSU Hoops has now lost 3 of their last 4 after falling yesterday during the SEC Big 12 Challenge to number 10 Texas Tech. Javonte Smart led the way in the loss.
To Watford, top of the key. Watford driving, spinning. SEC logo, jumper short off the front rim. Rebound McCollar for Texas Tech. Here's a steal. Smart takes it away in the backcourt. Goes up, over and under. Layup goes. McCollar with a lazy inbounds. And the Tigers making pay. 50-49 LSU.
Smart finished with 29 points as the Tigers fell 76-71. LSU now sits at 11-5 overall in the year. They're back in action Wednesday night as they return to SEC play at Alabama. The Pelicans' 2-game winning streak came to an end at home as they fell to the Houston Rockets 126-112 on the second night of the back-to-back. Zion Williamson led the way for the Pels with 26 points. New Orleans now sits at 7-11 on the season. They return to action tomorrow night hosting the Sacramento Kings. And the first blockbuster trade of the NFL offseason yesterday as the Detroit Lions dealt quarterback Matthew Stafford to the Los Angeles Rams in return for a bevy of draft picks and Jared Goff. I'm Mark Menard, WWL Sports.
Even though we have a cold front on the way, it'll still be a mild afternoon. Highs get to right around 70 degrees for lunchtime. It will eventually start to drop off later on this afternoon and this evening as that cold air spills in. The good news, the rain ended this morning. We'll see some sunshine this afternoon, too. Tonight, more clouds build in. It will be chilly as we wake up Monday morning with 30s and 40s. No freeze, though. Monday afternoon, fighting off some clouds and staying cool in the mid-50s. Tuesday morning, we'll see a light freeze north of the lake. We'll see mid-50s for your afternoon highs, and then we're back into the low 60s with mostly sunny skies as we go into Wednesday. From your local weather expert forecast center, I'm WWL TV meteorologist Peyton Malone.
And I'm Tom Perumian, WWL First News.
The following is a paid program. The views and advice expressed are not that of WWL or Intercom Louisiana LLC. Assessing a person's legal matter often requires extensive interviews, review of contracts and documents, and research of the current state of the law and the issues involved. As a result, the information provided by the attorneys and guests of All Things Legal is given for informational purposes only. It is not to be construed as legal, tax, investment, or other professional advice. Communications with the attorneys on this program, whether verbal or digital, do not create an attorney-client relationship. From WWL, the news, talk, and sports powerhouse of the Gulf South, it's All Things Legal with Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Paid for by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. Call or text 504-260-1870 or join us anytime, anywhere on the radio.com app. Now, to our Jefferson Financial Federal Credit Union studios in the heart of New Orleans, here are attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, All Things Legal. Hour number 2. We're on till 10 o'clock. You can also join us on our Facebook page. And if you'd like, type a question or comment, and we'll work you in. And Albert, I guess first of all, when we have, I think we had a presidential election just recently, if my memory wrong. I think we had the humble, affable, laid-back Donald Trump against the slumbering and cognitively questionable Joe Biden. Is that probably? And so, a lot of people, and I believe there's been a winner declared, and so we got to look to the future, right? And a lot of, and I've had some people say, well, how is this going to affect, estate planning and, what should I do, what should not do, and some of the concerns and some of the things that were being put on the table to pay for this incredible debt that we have right now. And so there's people who are concerned about, the death tax, which probably doesn't affect 99.9% of the citizens, because the death tax is $11.7 million this year, meaning you won't be taxed on your first $11.7 million of your estate, which probably doesn't apply unless you're on a football team. Yes. Right. So you double that, so it'd be 23.4. Yeah, the 23.4 million. And so most people are not too worried about that. I mean, there's just talk about maybe lowering that. But there's also something called a stepped up basis. And well, first of all, we're talking about this, and my general advice is don't do anything now. You got plenty of time, as far as maybe looking on how to plan. Just watch what goes through Congress, because trying to, at this point, trying to predict what policies will be passed is like trying to predict a horse race. I mean, you just don't know. It's just, there's a lot of variables involved. But I think there is a concern that taxes are going to be raised, that taxes may be raised on estates, on certain, tax rates are going to, on maybe capital gains on stocks and that sort of thing will be raised. But one of the things that was sort of interesting that's being put on the table is the stepped up basis for property inherited, for stocks or property that's inherited in an estate. Now, for example, we're not talking about the death tax. Okay. We're not talking about the $11.7 million exemption. We're talking about a different type of tax, because, one thing the United States is very good at is taxing everything. I was saying they tax everything but breathing, but now they're taxing that because that's a carbon tax. But, if, way estates work now is, let's say dad or a parent bought Apple stock at $10 back in 2000. And now I'm just using an example. It's worth $100 today. Okay. If and parent sells that stock, they would be basically paying capital gains between the gain between the $10 or $100. So if he or she bought 10,000 shares of Apple stock at $10 back in 2000, that would be worth $100,000. And if they sold it, and it was worth $100, 10,000 shares at $1 million, you'd be paying capital gains tax on that $900,000. So it's a pretty easy concept. But when a person passes, they get what is called a stepped up basis, meaning I wish I had a chalkboard, but I don't. So I'm going to try to paint a visual chalkboard. Is that parent or decedent buys a stock for Apple stock for $10, 10,000 shares, it's worth $100,000. And then the decedent dies, and this stock is worth $100, which would make that stock worth $1 million for 10,000 shares. And then the legatee would inherit that stock and then subsequently sell it for $110, which would make it valued at $1,100,000. You can get that in your brain. Well, one of the proposals that is being discussed by the tax-loving legislature or Congress is that in that situation, as of now, if someone who inherited that stock would pay taxes on it, the basis for that tax would be $1 million, because you would get a stepped up basis when there's a death and a stock goes through an estate. So in other words, if you have a stock that was purchased for $10, Apple stock for $10,000, Then the decedent died and it was worth $100. And then the heir gets the stock and sells it at 110. They would only be paying would be paying taxes on the difference between the $1 million and the $1,100,000, or the basis of the stock upon death, not where the basis upon when the stock was purchased. So in this case, the basis would be based on $100 instead of $10, even though the stock was purchased at $10. But one of the things they're talking about in Congress is, and it's sort of a below the radar tax that's not, that's sort of not visually, known until you deal with an estate, is that if someone inherits a stock, they want to tax, if you ever sell that stock, they want to tax or make the basis based on the time it was purchased and eliminate that stepped up basis. Now it's hard to explain over radio, but basically you lose that stepped up basis is one of the proposals on to raise money to pay for this incredible debt. So, a lot of times in, estate planning, you might have a, person who's a decedent or up in age, and state said, hey, I'd like to sell the stock. And you say, you're probably better off not doing it and just letting it go through your estate, because you'll get a stepped up basis and you wouldn't have to pay capital gains on it or other assets. So one of the things just to watch is whether that proposal is put forth by the social, I didn't mean to say socialist, by the Congress in Washington. Because that would be very significant. What? Did I say socialist? Did I say socialist? I'm sorry. I didn't. I take that back. Yeah. Well, yeah. Well. Well, and that's what I was saying, is that a lot of, people who, the average demographics of our show is age 59, and they go to church, and probably half of them going to church right now. And, so, they have businesses and they've accumulated, and they're saying, gee, what adjustments do I have to make based on this new administration and what they're likely to do or may do? And my general advice right now is keep an eye on the legislation that's going to be proposed. And then by, I'd say, September, August, November, you'll have a pretty good idea as to what adjustments would you'd have to make. And, well, I know now is, but as far as the taxes, there's a bunch of executive orders, which that's another issue that is more of a constitutional issue. But for the businessman who is, or business, person who accumulated a nice estate and would like to have it go to their children, is, they're being concerned. I've received call concern. What do I do? What do I do to preserve the estate? Should I start putting money in trust, irrevocable trust, and that sort of thing? Start getting the money, start moving the money so it won't be taxed when I die. And my general advice right now is just keep an eye on what's going on in the Congress, what's going on, some of the proposals that are being made. And then by the summer, early fall, it may be time to, depending on what's passed and what's not passed, to start making adjustments. Because the good part about this is lawyers work a lot quicker than the legislature. So as soon as they put, legislation down, we start figuring out what we can do to mitigate the harshness of being, of certain taxes and certain type of, planning. And so, I guess lawyers, accountants are pretty agile when it comes to it once the rules are made. But, just sort of just keep an eye out. I think there are going to be some changes, and it's going to be, have effects. Yeah, Albert.
No, I agree. And you can expect that the inheritance tax
is going to be lowered.
State tax will be lowered.
Yeah.
The number I've been hearing is anywhere between 3 and 3.5 million.
Yeah.
Which is still a pretty high number. It doesn't affect most people, but if you work hard all you like, and you have a small business, and you've got 20 or 30 employees, and you've got assets
right.
corporation.
Yeah.
Yeah, where it's all in the children's names, but you maintain the voting rights.
And in control of it. But
Yeah, you control it, you run the company, and, upon your death, it transfers to them, and then they, there's an operating agreement that decides who runs it, how to vote on that, et cetera, and, then all of a sudden, the growth of the company becomes theirs and not yours. It just gets turned over to them.
yeah, so yeah, we got to go to break, and I apologize for referring to the congressman who want to tax us to death. A socialist. I apologize. So let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend warriors, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
This week, as heard on WWL.
Science is going to rule.
We worry about many things with these variants.
Vaccinate, vaccinate, vaccinate.
Article of impeachment.
Okay, gentlemen, we have
Who?
Hogan.
Okay, who's that?
And the third one coming up. Linda from Alexa, credit card, payout questions, and we have Oscar from the world. And we got another one coming.
Okay.
This is the Senate will begin that work next week on WWL.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Providers help thousands.
Okay, we're going to add Michael from Mandeville, and he has a question about evictions from rental property.
It's called Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-1509. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Hear how the best minds in business really work with the Boardroom Out of Office podcast, hosted by Rich Klein, Kevin Durant's 35 Ventures business partner. Industry leaders talk about who they are, how they got here, and things they learned along the way you might not expect. Listen on radio.com and Apple Podcasts.
We're letting the good times roll at Diamonds Direct with one incredible offer. 5 years, 0 interest financing on anything and everything, just in time for Valentine's. You heard right. Now through Valentine's, you can pick any piece of jewelry at Diamonds Direct, from diamond earrings to a designer engagement ring, and spread your payments over 5 years with 0 interest charges. It's a great time to be in the Big Easy, and everybody looks better with some new bling. How about a $6,000 pair of diamond stud or diamond hoop earrings for just $100 a month? Or maybe plan for that Mardi Gras proposal with a $12,000 Takori engagement ring, maybe with a yellow diamond for just $200 a month. Celebrate Mardi Gras, celebrate Valentine's, celebrate all that makes New Orleans special, and mostly celebrate your love with something that will last a lifetime. Now through Valentine's Day, only at Diamonds Direct. Get 5 years, 0 interest financing, nothing down, nothing held back. Diamonds Direct on Severn Avenue across from Lakeside Mall.
I'm Dr. Joey Lacoste with Louisiana Dental Center. When it comes to
Okay, we are going to add Jay to the mix. He's from Baton Rouge, and there is a question about Medicaid.
Dan.
All right.
Thomas Fontes with Accounting Services Unlimited. If you're not happy with the results of your advertising, you've got to call Dan.
Generally, we work with two types of clients. Those who advertise and are worried about their return on investment, or those who are frustrated about not getting a better return on investment. You probably don't fall into either of these categories, but this is the last call.
Okay, good.
If you spend $10,000 to $80,000 a month on advertising, Dan will show you how to make your advertising a profit center, not an expense. Dan only works with one business in any given category. Find out if your category is still available. Visit gottacalldan.com. gottacalldan.com. That's gottacalldan.com. It's WWL and all things legal with Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Join us on the WWL Talk and Text Line, 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. Let's go to phone lines. Let's go to Linda. Linda, you on all things legal. What can we do for you?
Well, I was hoping you could help me settle a credit card or 2 credit cards that I spent on long-term payment plan for a few years now, and I called them, we got our stimulus check. I thought, oh, I'll never have this money again. Let me see if I can just pay these 2 credit cards off.
Yeah.
To see if they would settle for half of what I owe. And one said, no, we cannot negotiate. And the other one said, well, you can put it in the application, but the most that they've ever taken off would be 10%. And doubt that they
Well, that's not true. That's most they hadn't taken was 10%. That's not true. What I would suggest you do this is ask for a supervisor and keep going up the chain.
It took all day to get through to an actual supervisor.
Yeah, it takes a while. That's one we've done. Here's another thing that we have done, and we've done this through an attorney. And you could write a letter stating, now you probably want to have an attorney do that for you, is write a letter to an attorney saying that, hey, let's say I have an outstanding balance of $8,000. I'm making a proposal that I'll pay $4,000 for it. If you do not agree to accept this as a full and final settlement of my account, please return the check for further negotiation. However, if you do cash the check and you endorse it, then that constitutes full satisfaction of my account. And then you write on the back of the check, endorsement of this check constitutes full and final settlement of the account listed, and put the account number on there. That is one way we have done that to address that issue. And if they cash your check, then you argue that, hey, you should have set the check back. That was the terms and conditions of cashing this check. That's one thing you could try to do. A lot of times after they do that, they don't credit it that way. And you say, well, come sue me because I have a defense, which I think would be upheld. But you have to be very specific in the letter stating that if you endorse this check, that constitutes full and final settlement of my account, and you can't come back and ask for anything more. If you disagree with these terms and conditions, send me back the check for further negotiation. Now, a lot of times they figure, rightfully so, that a bird in the hand is better than 2 in the bush. So that's one thing that's done. We typically do that with a lot of estates that we end up, if the estate has liquidation problems, we will settle for that. Albert?
Who do I know where to send this letter in this check?
Yeah, Albert, you want to yet a comment?
Keep in mind that at this point in the process, that debt has probably been sold. That debt has probably been sold to a collection agency. I mean, we're going to turn you over to a collection agency. What that means is the collection agency.
No, they didn't say that because I called them on Thursday and they said I still need to keep making the minimum payments if they don't. One doesn't negotiate, the other one said they might settle for 10%.
Yeah. Let me tell you something about, Albert.
If you are making the payment, then they have no real incentive because they're going to collect 100% of the debt. And they don't care if they collect it now, if they collect it in 2 years. But if you haven't been paying this in, all of a sudden, you come along and say, look, I can pay you this now and nothing else, then they'll, believe it or not, they're more likely to make a deal because they're thinking, we're going to have trouble trying to collect it in the future. Keep in mind, like I said, that at this stage of litigation or at this stage of the process, that debt has been sold to a company that's all they do is they buy this debt from these credit card companies, and they're the ones that are collecting the money for themselves. So every nickel or dime that they knock off, they knock off money that's coming right out of their pocket because they've already paid the credit card company, 30, 40, 50 cents on the dollar.
If that much. Yeah, if that much.
If that much. Yeah, if that much, right.
So that, yes.
Well, can you recommend a lawyer that I can go to? Because I don't know how to do this. I just recently retired.
Yeah.
Retired and I can barely make
just give us a call at 837-1304, 837-1304. We will point you in the right direction. 504-837-1304. Yes. 1304. That's it. All right. Thanks for the call, Linda. Let's go.
Thank you.
Thank you. Let's go to Oscar. New Orleans got a question. Hey, Oscar, you know all things legal with Sunseri and Albert Nicaud.
Doggy now. How you guys doing?
Good, good. Thanks, Oscar.
Hey, look, man, I'm just calling to congratulate you guys. 13 years. I'm glad you let me through. You know?
Thank you.
13 years you guys last longer than my marriage. Yeah, 13. What do you think of it?
Well, like you said, Oscar, I don't know. I don't know the Oscars. I know an OT.
I know most people call me OT, but now
Oh.
congratulate you guys. 13 years. You guys lasted longer than my marriage, man. What's up with that?
Huh?
OT, let me ask you, are you still playing music? You still with the bench warmers?
Yeah, still playing music, but we've been shut down since March. Well, I mean, it's
Now,
what it is.
I know OT is part of the Jesuit team that lost to St. Aug in 1979, right? Played in the Super.
No, I graduated 78.
Did you?
Yeah,
You missed that. I thought you were part of that. But you're
no, it's okay.
that's okay. But you were reared in Bucktown, right?
Well, right there.
You were.
Homestead Vets right to the bottom.
Oh, that's you can go either way on that. There, you go either way.
Exactly, but Lakeshore Playground, like that country club, all the good places,
There you go. There you go. Good to hear from you.
I don't want to keep you guys long. I just want to congratulate you guys. 13 years, and hopefully another 13 for you guys.
Sounds good, OT. All right, brother.
All right, buddy, you guys have a good one, buddy.
OT, real quick. OT, where you go? Hello?
I think he's gone, but he's listening.
Okay. Well, I wanted to find out his take on the whole, live music shutdown and how that's affecting things. And, we got people up on stage and yeah, it's just, I don't know. I don't want to get into it. It's a good idea, but, how it's impacting him and all the other, live musician artists that, that make up this city and make this city what it is. And they've been on hold for almost a year now.
That's right. Well, elections have consequences, so we'll see. We'll see in about 10 months if that changes. Let's go to Michelle's got a question. Well, Michael's got a question in Mandeville regarding addiction. Hey, Michael, you know all things legal.
I just got a quick question about evictions on rental property.
Mm-hmm.
If a property is owned outright, this moratorium and all this still affects it, right? So even though you don't have a loan with the government or with the bank or anybody, you own it outright, you still have to follow this protocol, right?
Correct. Yeah, I don't think it matters one way or the other. I think the issue is protecting the tenant from being homeless, right? Because
Right.
Again, I'm sure you're aware of the government form that they have to fill out and the assertions that they have to make regarding their income, regarding the fact that they lost their job for COVID-related reasons. There's a litany of things that they have to attest to. And so if you give them that form and somehow or can prove somehow that they're not being truthful, nothing would prevent you from going in and saying, hey, look, I'm going to still go forward with this eviction, and they represented to the court X, Y, Z, and here's proof that that's not true. And so, they are making an income, they are doing whatever they said that they're not doing, and I'm entitled to an eviction. And so,
Where do you get the form from?
it's on the government website. Just look up
Google. Yeah.
Moratorium or eviction moratorium, and it'll bring you to the government website, and then they'll have the rules and regs, and then there's a form there that says, look, if you're not paying me rent, you see, they're supposed to be trying to make payments too, and which right, they can't just walk away from it. So
Yeah, I get a feeling they're getting.
Back to me.
Right. I get a feeling they're getting their stimulus checks and they're not, using it for rent. They're using it for other stuff.
Well, that's
Their lease is run out. They're kind of month to month, but here we are stuck in this pandemic, and it's a hard look at one.
How many months have you done?
Probably 6.
And they say 0?
Right.
carbon compliant, but yeah.
That they can pay. So if you can find out some information about them, and listen, at this point, it might be worth hiring a private investigator. You know, seeing if they're going to work every day, and you know that sort of thing. You might spend, you know, $1,000, but you know, consider 6 months worth of rent if you can get them out. You know, and then the question is, can you get it re-rented? You know, that's the next step. Right, right.
All right, Michael. Well, if you got any further questions, give us a call at law firm at 504-837-1304. Let's go to a break. That's Sunseri, Albert, Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. All things legal. We'll be right back after this brief time out.
This year, I hope we all recognize one truth, that we're all Americans, and we basically want the same things. We want COVID-19 to end. We want to be safe in our communities.
Okay, we have two holding. We have Jay from Baton Rouge, Medicaid coverage. And we have John from Slidell, another credit card question.
The enemy. I pledge to do this. To you, I'm Scoot. Let's try to walk a mile in each other's shoes. Weekday afternoons, 1 to 4 on WWL.
Does learning a language feel like this?
No habla español? Hablo. It's hablo? It's hablo.
Bon dia, like good day, good morning, I think.
I can say, je m'appelle David, but that's probably it.
When you learn a language, you want to actually use it. Babbel is designed with that goal in mind.
This year is my year to get fluent in Spanish, and Babbel is definitely going to help me do that. The app is so easy to use, and it's so practical. It helps you learn things that you will actually need.
Since my husband is from Guatemala, I'll apply what I've learned with Babbel to our real-life situations.
I've tried other language learning apps and nothing really stuck. Babbel's been a complete game changer for me.
Hoy es miércoles y el clima está muy bueno afuera.
Estoy con fome, pero no tomé café de mañana.
Je suis des États-Unis et du Lyon too.
Babbel, language for life, celebrating 10 million subscriptions sold. Now try Babbel for free at Babbel.com. Just go to Babbel.com and start learning a new language today. That's Babbel.com, Babbel.com.
Progressive makes bundling easy and affordable. Get a multi-policy discount by combining your car, home, motorcycle, commercial auto, and more. All your protection in one place. Bundle and save at Progressive.com.
Traditional paint is 70% water. You're renting paint. There's no stability with paint.
That's Kevin Memahat, owner of Mid-South Coatings. Kevin, tell us about the product you put on your customers' homes.
Our manufacturer opened the doors in 1961. They're the founding father of wall coatings. They're on their third generation.
Using Mid-South Coatings, what will someone's home look like 30, 40 years from now?
If you take care of the exterior of the house, it's guaranteed to last a lifetime. It's going to look like it did today after we got finished applying the coatings. Nobody else can meet that or exceed the warranties that we provide.
What's the biggest concern your homeowners have?
The customer's biggest concern is, can they afford my products and services? My homeowners all come back to me and say that it was a lot more affordable than they ever thought it would be.
Call Mid-South Coatings for a free estimate. 504-407-2222. 407-2222. That's 407-2222. Or visit midsouthcoatings.com.
Doing your best work from home is not easy when you don't have the right space. California Closets will help you create a custom solution that works for you, your family, and your life. Whether it's a small space, shared space, multifunctional space, or kids space, our professional design consultants will help you get organized and make your space one that works better for you. Now you can love where you live and work. Schedule your free in-home or virtual design consultation today at CaliforniaClosets.com.
Locally owned and operated.
Find inspiration in timeless stories of sacrifice and resilience. Find inspiration in little victories and Herculean tasks. In facing trying times together and overcoming the odds as one. The National World War II Museum in New Orleans is now open, so you can find inspiration in all of these places. And this special,
okay, we're going live after Big Lou.
Visit nationalwwmuseum.org for timed tickets and safety information.
All right, I have a vision of what Big Lou looks like.
Everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term providers help thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance. To buy $1 million of affordable term life for you, all you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-555-1509. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-555-1509. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-555-1509. 800-555-1509.
Back to WWL and all things legal with attorneys Doug Sunseri and Albert Nicaud. Connect on the WWL talk and text line 504-260-1870.
Hey, we're back. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. Let's go to the phone lines. Let's go to Jay. He's got a question regarding Medicaid. Jay, you on all things legal. What can we do for you, brother?
Thank you. My wife's mother is in a nursing home in New Orleans, and she was recently approved for Medicaid. That was one big hurdle. But now a resident, which is uptown, like to dispose of that.
Oh, you can't. Don't do that.
That's what we want to know.
No. Because no, if you dispose of it, you see what happens is this: you should lose a Medicaid eligibility. What happens is there's two types of assets that Medicaid considers. There's countable assets and non-countable assets. In order to be Medicaid eligible, you have to have less than $2,000 of countable assets, which is basically cash. All right. Now the equity in a home is a non-countable asset. Now, if you sell the home and turn it from a non-countable asset to a countable asset, you're not going to be eligible. So here's the way it works. I always give this example. If someone has $3,000 of cash and no home, they're not eligible for Medicaid because they're over the threshold. But if someone has a $500,000 home that's paid off but no money, they're eligible. So a lot of people have made this mistake before, and if you want to stay Medicaid eligible, as soon as you sell that house and it turns into cash, you come off of Medicaid, long-term care.
Is there a way to arrange to have money just go to Medicaid?
No. Well, I mean, I'll put it to you this way. No. I mean, no, it doesn't. As soon as you sell it, you come off Medicaid.
I have a couple of questions, Doug.
Yes.
I have a couple of questions. So, did your mom and dad live in that house together?
They did. There was no will. Father's deceased. Succession was done on the father.
Your mom really only
owns half of it.
Right.
So half of it was children. Correct. So what is the value of the house, you think?
About $300,000.
Nah.
Right. So you're still looking at $150,000 that she would then
have to spend
into her estate. That would be now a countable asset. Is there a family member that is at all interested in maybe moving into that house, a niece, a nephew, or anything like that?
One of her daughters is living in the house, but she would agree to move.
Well, see, but that would be ideal because even if you rent the house,
that's
income.
That's income, right?
And that counts towards your Medicaid eligibility. So the most ideal situation is to have your sister living in the house, or having her daughter living in the house, and pay the bills, pay the taxes, pay the expenses, and so it's a zero-sum game at this point until such time as she passes away, and then you see if they may have filed any type of lien, but it's a percentage of her half, so it wouldn't be.
It wouldn't be the whole right.
It wouldn't be the whole thing.
Yeah.
We were looking for an alternative here because the house is going to have to be maintained if it's not.
Well, whoever lives there, whoever lives there can maintain it.
Yeah, she's not going to be able to do that.
No. But if you get a third party to live there, a family member to live there, and if they maintain it, that would be sort of.
The daughter is living there, family members living there, but
Yeah.
she's not going to be able to afford it.
Oh, yeah.
So and my wife has a power of attorney, but and brothers and sisters that won't contribute to maintaining it, so the burden of expenses would be on my wife, and that's on our retirement income to try to manage that property until the mother is deceased. So we're wondering if there are any alternatives to ways to dispose of it. And from what sounds like what you tell her, there isn't. Gotta maintain it.
Well,
Your wife's mother?
Yeah.
Okay, and it's just her and her sister?
Sister, and she has two other siblings, but they're not gonna contribute to maintaining the property.
They're not going to?
No.
Okay.
Right, it's on my wife.
I would sit down and have a contract formed with the other three siblings and say, listen, I'm gonna maintain the property and we're gonna spend the money to do X, Y, Z. But at the end of the day, when it gets sold, I'm gonna get X amount of money plus interest back out of the sale of the house. And that way, you know, you're not taking a beating on it. You've got the company every year that you can give to them and say, look, I'm gonna get 6% interest plus to maintain the house, you know, all this time. You know, and look, the other option is to if you go ahead and sell it, you know, she may get kicked off with Medicaid and have to get
That's what we're afraid of. Yeah, not going that route.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you know, you got $150,000.
You gotta spend down.
Something.
Yeah.
So, but I would make an agreement with your siblings. Listen, if y'all don't want to do this, I'll do it. You know, sister living in the house, you pay the insurance and taxes, we'll pay the maintenance, and then, you know, in exchange for you living in the house, that's your rent, right? We can take a break and then we go to
Yeah, John.
off the top when the house sells plus interest.
So we're gonna have to spend up front and seek reimbursement later.
Yes, but with interest.
Okay. Or lose the 150.
Hey, look, if you get a 6 or 7% interest rate on it and you deal, you're doing all right. Yeah, you know.
One question to clarify. If only one half is being occupied, the daughter's living there, if we rent out the other half.
No, that's income. That's income.
Yeah.
That's income. That'd be income.
Don't do that either. Okay.
So, let me ask you this, Doug, give me your opinion on it. If it's a double, right, and the children own half the house, why can't, you know, the mom?
Here, I'll tell you. I mean, here's the reason. I'm gonna tell you why. Because if your application gets held up for 9 months on that issue, the time you clear it up, it may be a moot issue. To me, when I do a Medicaid application, I want it to be clean, because if there's a double interpretation, it gets caught up. It might be a year before you clear it up, and by the time you clear it up, it's already a moot issue. So I'm always trying to avoid that argument, because you might submit an identical application and have two different interpretations by two different caseworkers, and sometimes it takes 6 to 9 months to get it fixed. And so I always try to do an application where you're not going to have those problems, because if you could win the battle and lose the war, and on those type of issues. So, but I mean, technically, Albert, you can make that argument, but if the first line of claims, of intake people don't buy it, then you don't, then you have Medicaid cut off, and that's got its own implications. So until you get it redone. All right. Great questions, Jay. Call us at 837-1304 if you got any additional questions. Great questions. Common issue most, a lot of baby boomers are experiencing. Let's go to a break. Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers, all things legal. We'll be right back after this brief timeout.
Advertisement by the law firm Barrett, Dallas, Texas. Attention, if you own or lease a Chevy, GMC, Cadillac, or Buick, you could be entitled to cash compensation because of potentially defective airbags and seatbelts. The attorneys at Barrett & Budd are investigating an alleged defect that prevents airbags from deploying and seatbelts from engaging in certain vehicles when involved in an accident. Popular vehicles such as the Cadillac Escalade, GMC Yukon, Chevy Suburban, and Silverado may be affected. If you own or lease one of these vehicles, you could be entitled to cash compensation, even if you've not had an accident or been injured. Just go to checkmyairbag.com right now to check for free if your vehicle may be affected. That's checkmyairbag.com. If you own or lease a Chevy, GMC, Cadillac, or Buick vehicle, you could be entitled to cash compensation, even if you've not had an accident or been injured. Go to checkmyairbag.com right now to check your vehicle for free. But hurry, time is limited. Go to checkmyairbag.com. That's checkmyairbag.com.
A special announcement from People's Health. If you missed Medicare's annual enrollment deadline, you may have until February 28th to enroll in a $0.
Okay, I have one more that we may be able to get through. I don't know. Christian College in Arizona and property transfer to an LLC.
Who is that? What's her name?
A $0
Christian.
And a
Christian.
People's Health Part B Premium Give Back. That's money back to you. Learn more at peopleshealth.com.
All right.
Time is running out to enter the Rocket Mortgage Super Bowl Square Sweepstakes. Someone wins $50,000 every score change during Super Bowl 55. Touchdowns, field goals, extra points, $50,000.
Okay, we have John with credit card questions and Christian with a property transfer.
Enter for free at RocketMortgageSquares.com.
No purchase necessary. Legal residency of 50 U.S. and D.C. of age. Enjoy.
And we will have something like 6 minutes.
30-30. The NFL is not sponsored promotion in any way. Paid for by Asset Marketing Services, LLC.
2021 marks the 35th anniversary of the American Eagle Coin Program, and these historic silver coins will never be the same again.
Why? The U.S. Mint has unveiled new designs for the 2021 American Silver Eagle coins, scheduled to appear mid-year.
This means now is your last chance to get an American Silver Eagle coin with the original Eagle design.
The American Eagle coin series has become the best-selling coin series in the world.
Act fast or miss your opportunity to own the last year of this historic Silver Eagle coin design.
Just call govmint.com at 1-800-222-3807 and you're guaranteed a shiny, new, perfect mint condition American Eagle silver dollar.
Get them now before time runs out.
Call 1-800-222-3807 now and you'll receive a free American Coin Collector's Bonus Package with every order.
Okay, a lot is coming up.
All right.
1-800-222-3807 now to secure your American Eagle silver dollar coins before the current design ceases production. That's 1-800-222-3807.
Hear how the best minds in business really work with the Boardroom Out of Office podcast, hosted by Rich Klein and Kevin Durant's 35 Ventures business partner. Industry leaders talk about who they are, how they got here, and things they learned along the way you might not expect. Listen on radio.com and Apple Podcasts.
Now, more All Things Legal, paid for by Nicaud and Sunseri Law Firm. All advice given and opinions shared are solely those of attorneys Albert Nicaud and Doug Sunseri. Back to WWL.
All right, Doug Sunseri, Albert Nicaud, your weekend lawyers. We're in the last segment. Let's go to John. He's got a question in Slidell. Hey, John, you know All Things Legal.
Hey, how you doing? Thank y'all for taking my call. I want to find out. I had a couple of credit cards that had zero balance on them, and credit card company closed them out themselves, which made my credit score drop.
Yeah.
And I want to find out if there's anything that I'm able to do about that. And if, what's my options? Because since they closed them out, and I've never used them, and when I did use them, I had a zero balance on them, because like I said, they shut them out, and now my credit score has dropped. And I couldn't understand why. I never called to close them out. They did it on their own.
Albert, I don't.
Yeah, I'm not sure.
I don't know. I'm not sure what, as far as credit card repair, I don't know anything to say except to write a, in your dispute saying exactly what you said, so that if anybody pulls it, they'll know that. Or if you go to a bank and you apply for a loan, just have that information ready. Say, hey, look, I closed out they closed out a credit card and it dropped my score, and they'll consider that. But I'm not able to help you as far as specifics on that. All right, John, sorry. All right, thanks. Okay, let's go to Christian's got a question regarding property transfer. Hey, Christian, you and All Things Legal. Got a couple of minutes. Be quick.
Hey guys, just had a question. I own a home personally, and formed an LLC. Want to turn it into a rental property. Would like to see if you guys
take that.
So you basically do an active donation or an active transfer, either one, where you donate the property to the LLC, or you transfer the property into the LLC as a capital investment into the LLC, and then you record it in the. They said you calling from Arizona?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are you in Arizona?
The home's in Louisiana.
Oh, the home's in Louisiana. Yeah. And so you'd record that act in the parish where the real estate's located, and then recite in the act where the tax statement is to go, et cetera, and then at that point, and the title will accurately reflect that the LLC owns the property.
And how does that affect the mortgage?
Well, you would need to check with your mortgage company. It usually does not. I mean, mortgage companies are pretty familiar with people placing the property into LLCs for liability protection. Check with your insurance agent, though, because it's a little bit different with them with respect to insuring a company as opposed to an individual. Even though it is a rental and both parties are going to be utilizing it as a rental, it might be a different policy, so check with them and be sure you got that straight as well.
Okay.
All right. Thanks for the call. All right. Got about a minute to go. Albert, it's the first Sunday without football, so I'm not.
Fight next Sunday.
Huh? Who do I like?
Yeah.
Tampa. And I will take the points. I like Tampa.
How many points is like 3.5 or something?
Yeah. I mean, and I'm sort of. I don't know why. It has nothing to do with being analytical about this. Because if I was looking at this analytically, I would take Kansas City in a second. But I think Tampa has peaked at the right time. Because basically in the playoffs, you play from September to November to get into the playoffs. But what you do from September to November, once you get in the playoff, doesn't matter. It's because when are you peaking is the most important aspect of it. So I think that Tampa's just got an intangible thing. I love their coach. Bruce Arians is a phenomenal coach. And so, that's sort of a risky thing, but a risky deal, but.
Or Tom Brady's the greatest ever.
Yeah.
I've been saying that for years. And nobody can argue that.
And I think they have the type of offense that, when you play Kansas City, you're going to have to grind it out. And, if you get in a track meet with them, you're going to lose. And you need that kind of offense that can, eat it up, hold the ball for 35, 40 minutes and be very tactical and targeted. And it's, just sort of controlling the tempo of the game. So I don't have I have no reason to do it, no analytical or cognitive reason to do it aside from the fact that it's just a gut feeling. So who you like, Albert?
I can go either way. I think Kansas City's got to have the edge, and speed kills. They got four receivers that run under a 4.40, and so it's just hard to stop that. If the quarterback's healthy, it's going to be a hard one. Even to surprise the world.
All right, so we'll see. We'll talk about it next week. All right. Thank you, Albert. See you next week. Be good, be blessed. See you next week on All Things Legal.